for 2024. The NTT IndyCar Series is underway here in St. Pete. Newgarden leads the field, but watch that orange and black car. Pato Award on the inside, couldn't quite get there.
Oh, but 4 wide further back with Romain Grosjean dropping back. There's contact with some of those green and black cars. That's Marcus Armstrong as well, and Rinus VK comes out the lead of the 3 green and blacks.
This is where we had all the issues last year. The top of your screen, turn 3, it looks like it's all clear. We see Pato trying to go down the inside of, I think, Christian Lundgaard into turn 4. A little bit of contact there. Everybody getting
Oh,
through.
no, I think Lundgaard's got a flat right rear on the 45.
Will Power, Marcus Armstrong, Scott Dixon. Puncture is the call. Well spotted, T-Bell. This is the Hy-Vee Honda. Problems for Lundgaard. He's wounded.
Jamming up the back of the field here. They're all desperate to get by, but Lundgaard desperate to try to get to pit lane and see if he can stay on the lead lap.
Now Pato trying to defend from Alex Rossi behind Kyle Kirkwood. Callum Ilott in line there as we see all the cars trying to get around the wounded Hy-Vee Honda from Christian Lundgaard.
What a shame. Got his first IndyCar race win last year. The talented Danish driver up front, though. Look at Felix Rosenqvist in that pink and white Auto Nation Sirius XM Bon Jovi radio car. He is trying to rock and roll around the streets of St. Pete and take the lead away from Newgarden. Under caution for the first time on the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida. Unfortunately, it is for the 23-year-old New Zealander, Marcus Armstrong in the Ridgeline Lubricants Honda. This is what happened. Watch the green car.
Turn 10, just a little hot on the brakes, locks the left front. He thinks about trying to maybe take the overshoot, and he's like, I can make the corner, and he just runs out of room. New this year is the conveyor belt wrap on those tires. It did a good job producing a glancing blow for Armstrong, but unfortunately that contact is too much. It chews up the right front, and then the banner has a wallop.
And then that orange and blue car right behind him, Scott Dixon, his teammate. You said it off the top of the show. So good at avoiding calamity, avoiding chaos. We saw it in turn 1 going inside of that curb. We saw it here. Very heads-up driving from Dixon.
Armstrong is one of 3 New Zealanders in the IndyCar field for 2024, as was the case last year. He's a super talented young driver, but it's not his day. Weekend was looking really good, by the way, in practice and qualifying, but he was a bit frustrated with the qualifying performance in the end. But this guy who is actually beginning his first full season, remember he raced last year, but that was only on the streets and road courses. He's going to do everything this year, including the ovals, both short and big. The Indy 500, Milwaukee Mile, the Hy-Vee doubleheader at Iowa, all of the ovals for Marcus Armstrong this year.
So if the racing looked pretty tidy and strategic in the first 26 laps, hang on, because everybody about to come to pit lane, and this is when things get nuts. On a tight pit lane with 27 cars, they're all thinking right now, my best chance to make moves is going to be on pit lane, and there you see the crews are ready.
And you think about racing sometimes as an individual sport, one driver in the car, but that shot right there proves why this is such a team effort. Any single one of these team members going over the wall doesn't nail their job in this moment under caution, it can cost you so many positions on track.
And for 6 months, these crews have been practicing for exactly this moment. Who's got the fastest guns?
And this is it. This is the essence of teamwork right here. Yes, the drivers are in the spotlight and they get all the adulation and the recognition, but this is what it's about, Georgia. Teamwork on the line right here, right now.
As pit lane opens, Felix Rosenqvist is going to make his way to his pit box. He feels like he can't get speed out of the corners right now, but nonetheless, they're going from those Waiuli greens to those black tires. They're going to fill it up with fuel, and at that field, sits down and away, Kevin.
For Colton Herta and Andretti Global, the message has been execution. They've had plenty of pace, especially on road and street circuits. He's satisfied the obligation from the alternates. He's on the primaries, Marty.
Boy, Kevin, this is really going to change the strategy. The lead teams wanted to go about 5 more laps, almost a collision there on pit road, and Joseph Newgarden, who has led every lap to this point, will lose the lead here on pit road. I believe that's Colton Herta that came off with a diff.
Indeed, Colton Herta with the move on Rosenqvist at the pit exit speed cone. Newgarden, something went wrong. He went a little long stopping, and then the fuel seemed to take a little bit longer as well. That creates a huge opportunity for Felix Rosenqvist in the number 60. It looks like Christian Lundgaard stayed out on track to try to get back on the lead lap. He did indeed, so the 45 behind the pace car now.
Watch the blue and white car. Look at the one in the middle, Colton Herta, but Felix Rosenqvist on the right is ahead. Watch the line out. Rosenqvist wins it, even though Herta goes ahead, but it's addressed once they get back out on track. So Fro, as he's affectionately known, Felix Rosenqvist, in that Bon Jovi Radio Sirius XM Auto Nation Honda for Meyer Shank Racing, is out in front. That is the driver who got wounded on the first lap. His rear tyre, Christian Lundgaard in the Hy-Vee Honda at the front there, playing the big catch-up game after that altercation on the opening lap. We're back racing here in St. Pete.
So this will be interesting because Lundgaard probably can hang on here for maybe 4 or 5 laps before he has to make his pit. He'll try to stretch as long as he can as Rinus VeeKay goes inside.
Scott Dixon.
Dixon once again, those are the kind of decisions that Scott Dixon makes to survive the street circuits.
But it also just shows the Ganassi car struggling a bit as Newgarden makes the move on Colton Herta, takes that position back that he lost in pit lane. Very decisive on those softer tires now. Colton has switched to the black sidewall primary tires, and you saw that grip advantage right there.
Yeah, orange and black is Pato O'Ward, then McLaughlin.
Easier to heat up the softer tire after a pit stop under yellow. And look at the back end of all these cars as they exit turn 7, trying to
Here we go. O'Ward on the inside of Herta.
Again, the tire advantage, and now McLaughlin taking advantage of a slow exit from Colton.
They are pouncing right now on Colton Herta. He cannot get tire temperature anywhere near as quickly as the Firestone green shot cars.
And Newgarden says, all right, you came after me, Rosenqvist, now I'm coming after you. This is the Gamebridge Honda of Herta. Have a listen.
VeeKay making moves again on Will Power, and I don't think Will Power is going to give up here. He doesn't.
That's going to make for an interesting run down to turn 4, though. Nose to tail through turn 3 on the push to pass. No doubt as Newgarden now trying.
Whoa, and that tire bundle to the left there has been adjusted since last year. It's now wrapped in conveyor belt. There's a little bit of extra space there too on the exit. And I'm not sure they quite needed it then, but that was a good attack from Joseph Newgarden on Rosenqvist.
Newgarden's going to be feeling this straight away. Did he flat spot his right front tire by locking it up? I don't see a wicked vibration at the wheel. He dials back his fuel map and maybe tries to settle in here for a bit.
This is going to be a big fuel-safe stint. The engineers would have given their drivers 1, maybe 2 laps to push hard, make some advantages, make some gains, but now you've got to go back into conservation mode. Newgarden not able to get the pass done on Rosenqvist there, but heads up to Rhodesy. He gave him room on the inside and avoided some potentially really bad contact.
Yeah, some high percentage decision making as Newgarden now is going to go at Rosenqvist again inside turn 1.
Race lead.
Still there.
Well, effective race lead to Joseph Newgarden. Lundgaard is out in front at the moment, but Joseph Newgarden, who, by the way, won the Rolex 24 at Daytona this year. Here's Pato O'Ward on the inside of his old teammate. He gets Rosenqvist as well.
Look at VeeKay making the move on the red and white and black Verizon car here of Will Power. That's Rinus VeeKay in the green car up ahead. Power working his fuel map in between corners, in the corners.
Race as we see Stingray Robb. AJ Foyt, driver in the 41 there. I think that's down in turn 1.
See a little brake smoke in the right front wheel well as the steering wheel comes off the AJ Foyt entry. Stingray Robb is out and he'll walk away. I think he's looking for a fire extinguisher. What happened here?
Just looks like a little bit of rear lockup there on that white paint.
Almost looks like he lost
there's some kind of failure.
Potential.
Yeah, because that didn't slow down at all once he kind of turned out of it.
He's pointing to that right front because that sometimes what can happen, this happened to Christian Lundgaard on Friday, is a little piece of spent tire rubber can get jammed between the brake rotor and the brake rotor shield, which is carbon, and create a lot of temperature. The AMR safety team, as always, on the scene. Understand there was an issue here for the 51 who did a top-up. That's Colin Brown, the Dale Coyne Racing car, and that looks like quite a bit of excess fuel flowing onto the side pod in the right rear, but it looks like Brown's still underway, and that has extinguished itself.
First IndyCar race, the sports car champion. He's been doing well. He's enjoying it up until that point. All right, second full course caution out of the way. Let's go racing. A couple of Chevy powered cars up front. Joseph Newgarden leads. Pato O'Ward back to green here down the runway at Albert Whitted Airport. Rosenqvist tucked in behind his old teammate. They're good friends too. Then the white and red Dex imaging machine. Scott McLaughlin ahead of Colton Herter, his teammate Marcus Ericsson, then Rinus VK. Here they come.
Hustling through that newly repaved turn 2 and 3, flat out or nearly flat out. They're nose to tail right now. I don't see anybody trying to duck out just yet, James, and make something happen on this restart.
Like you say, with a few laps from the pit stop, the tires are warmer than the last restart. Car's not sliding around quite as much as we see McLaughlin all crossed up coming off of turn 9 there, but everyone a little bit more in control. But Pato O'Ward not letting Joseph Newgarden get away. That black and orange McLaren lurking in the mirrors of the number 2.
Watch McLaughlin. Watch the white and red car. It's the 4th in shot. He is all over Rosenquist. There it is right there. He's starting to hassle the Swedish driver. Let's go for a ride. Will he make a move down into turn 1?
You probably heard a little stutter there, either shifting up a little too late and getting on the rev limiter, or potentially a little overboost penalty perhaps coming in with the motor. It reminds me a bit of what happened to that orange and black car, Pato O'Ward, last year. You talk about a guy that wants to win, that feel he's owed a win here at St. Pete. Pato O'Ward on his way last year, had a plenum fire in almost exactly the same situation. It cut horsepower, he got past, and of course Marcus Ericsson went on to take the win. But O'Ward looking just as fast this year.
So Marcus Ericsson just started losing positions and has come in here. No idea what the issue is at, running down, try to see what the problem is, but they have shut off the car, it looks like. So a problem for Marcus Ericsson, the winner last year. And they've taken the engine cowling off.
Watch this, watch Marcus Ericsson, a wounded race car. He's outside, unfortunately, on the wrong side of the track, and he's desperately going to try to get across to pit lane. That is some dicey stuff as you're looking in those tiny side pod mounted rear view mirrors.
Not the way that the Swedish driver had expected his season opener to go. All right, we're into the second half of this one. You may have noticed too that Colin Brown went down the runoff. So in his maiden IndyCar race, who else is new to this? Linus Lundqvist begins his first full-time season for Chip Ganassi Racing. He's out there, check this out.
Here's Colin Brown, very similar to Marcus Armstrong, a little twitch at the back of the race car in turn 10 on the brakes. In this case, Colin Brown making the high percentage decision to take the overshoot.
Yeah, we noticed some of that this morning in warm-up. Felix Rosenquist found himself down in that runoff a couple of times with a very similar looking.
It seems like there's some braking surprises this weekend. Like drivers are ending up in situations where they are consistently deploying the brake pedal, similar point, similar pressure, and they're getting surprises behind the wheel. And that's tough on a street circuit because this place is so unforgiving.
So you hear Scott McLaughlin there still hitting that fuel save number. He's almost primary tires. The 2 cars in front on the alternates. Everybody in the top 10 except Scott McLaughlin and Will Power have met their mandatory tire obligations of running each set now. As we go on board with the Firestone telemetry is Scott McLaughlin chasing down Pato O'Ward.
Dramas here for Scott Dixon. Look at the PNC Bank Honda, 3rd car in shot. This is coming down into turn 10 over on the backside of the circuit. Whoa, locks it up.
Boy.
Remember, this is where his teammate came to grief. Right here, smashed into that tire bundle there. Good save from Dixon.
And again, it's rear lockup into turn 10, and that looked pretty unexpected. As look at the marbles growing now. They are everywhere.
If I'm Marcus Armstrong sitting, I mean, he's upset obviously, but I'm going to feel a little bit better that other drivers are having this same issue because it is just catching people out, coming out of nowhere. But if I'm an engineer on the stand right now, I'm telling all my drivers, hey, be conscious of rear lock into turn 10. Maybe crank that brake bias forwards a little bit. That's an adjustment these drivers can do from inside the cockpit. So you just got to stay on top of it as this race progresses.
Look at this replay. Will Power up inside Rinus VK into turn 10. A nice clean move. Here's the onboard look from the Verizon car.
And again, this is primaries on alternates, Townsend, so maybe the alternate's starting to fall off a little bit.
I'll bet it might be more fuel related. I feel like VK was maybe burning a lot more fuel early, and it wouldn't surprise me if his team's saying, hey, dude, you got to chill. We need to save some gas here if we're going to make it to the end on one more stop.
I think this is Scott Dixon too on Rinus VK down the runway, down the front straight here at Albert Whitted Airport. That was very straightforward for Dixon on the Dutch driver. So, and there's been contact between these two cars that have been together pretty much all race long. Just a side slap of wheels there between VK and Grosjean, with Alexander Rossi in the background getting a front row seat, and Rossi's still there. And here comes the champ. The bright yellow and red car is Alex Palou. Kind of the first time we've really seen much of the Spaniard today.
Yeah, not made as much progress as you would have maybe thought. Alex Palou started 13th, the first of the drivers to not make it into Q2 yesterday in qualifying, but just not the pace out of the Ganassi cars they really need to see.
Yeah, but if he's up on the seat now, maybe he's done enough hard work earlier in this stint to have the chance to be in fuel range and really lean in and start to push. 36 laps remaining, Marty. We're going to start to see pit stops real soon. As we do, here comes Rossi and Grosjean.
So Romain Grosjean coming down to make what he hopes is his final stop. He can get home the rest of the way, maybe a little bit of fuel save. Alexander Rossi further up pit road, also making his last stop. It looks like it is primaries for Grosjean. He releases first, and it's also going to be alternates. Alexander Rossi is going for the alternates. Can he beat out Grosjean? He will.
So now, if you're the 2, if you're the 5, the 60, the leaders, you have entered the danger zone.
Here he comes. He's out of it.
That's
not anymore.
That's forcing the hand of Joseph Newgarden, Marty.
Yeah, Hinch, we kind of knew this was going to be the play once someone pitted. That's why you saw the late move to pit road for those cars that just pitted a moment ago, and that brings the leaders and everybody else down pit road. Joseph Newgarden, no complaints about the car. Remember, they had the fueling issue on the last stop. This one looks much cleaner for him. Right in front of him, Pato Award. There was a long debate on the 5 radio about whether to go with primaries or alternates. Award has to hold just a minute for fuel, and also Scott McLaughlin, who finally comes in and puts on those alternate tires. You see the big wing adjustment as well. Also Felix Rosenquist leaving pit road, and others coming this lap, Diff.
So Newgarden cycles back out. He tucks in behind Alex Palou. And is this the run to home? He's there. There's Kyle Kirkwood, is the Auto Nation mobile service.
Newgarden's got to be careful. He's on cold tires. He's got a very aggressive Kyle Kirkwood. Newgarden doesn't want to lose much pace here, but he also cannot afford any contact with either Kirkwood or the wall while he tries to warm his Firestone.
But in these green flag stops, these cycles, the outlap is so important. You can't afford to make a mistake. Colton Herta went for the overcut by going a lap longer, Kevin. Let's see what the 26 crew can do in pit lane.
So last year the overcut was effective, meaning staying out longer to get some clean track. Herta had a lap of clean track. He was using overtake, the push to pass. He's going to go to primary Firestones for the last stint, and we're going to watch where he comes out in regards to Joseph Newgarden. The Gainsbridge car is away.
2021 winner, Colton Herta.
The line with McLaughlin and Rosenquist.
You can hear it in Rob Edwards' voice. It's going to be close. Here comes Colton Herta. He's at the pit speed line, up to speed.
He's got him. Look at this. Good work, good out. Remember, this is the hot spot from last year where McLaughlin and Romain Grosjean came together.
Nobody's been mixing it up more than Rinus VK. From the very start of this thing, it's been elbows out, full push, and there goes McLaughlin.
Finally gets that move done, and Power ran a little wide there into turn 10 in the Verizon Chevy. He had to arrest his speed.
Another battle of alternates versus primaries. You see the green sidewall on the red and white car. Scott McLaughlin, Rosenquist behind on those black sidewall primaries. And in the first few laps of this stint, it really does seem like the alternates have that advantage. It's distinct as we see Linus Lundqvist in the tires at turn 10.
The American Legion car. This is the turn that brought his teammate Marcus Armstrong to grief and out of the race, and we're under full course caution.
And this is why you had to pit as soon as Alex Rossi and Grosjean came into the pits when you're the leaders. Had they stayed out and tried to extend that stint and this yellow happens, they would have been absolutely hosed, had to pit under yellow and cycle to the back.
That's why you hear Townsend always say the danger zone. This is it in case something like this happens. Unfortunately, it's Linus Lundqvist who was having a really solid day in the top 15. But it's ended like this.
Don't know exactly what's happened here to Lundqvist, but that's turn 10 and his car's backwards. Is that a braking issue like what fell teammate Marcus Armstrong and almost got Scott Dixon and maybe got Colin Brown over there? This has been a troubled spot that historically isn't. Something's a little bit different today.
Check it out. Watch the white and blue car coming towards us. And Linus Lundqvist, is there contact with Romain Grosjean? There sure is. The Honko's hauling a Chevy. Shoveled him in there. Get ready to roll. Here we go. Green again at St. Pete. Let's race to the end, or will we? Newgarden with a good restart. O'Ward, and look at McLaughlin. He's diving, he's weaving, he's getting impatient. And on the inside, Felix Rosenqvist defends from Will Power.
Gets pretty dicey here. Totally different situation. Everybody's going to be at max power as Colton Herta has a massive slide out of turn 3.
What can McLaughlin do on the outside? Felix Rosenqvist locking up there into 4, but Colton Herta just able to hang on. McLaughlin needs to pounce early. He's got that tire advantage with the alternates, and he is all over the gearbox. Oh, Colton Herta, I think, touched the wall there entering turn 9.
And Will Power is all over the back of Felix Rosenqvist. There's going to be some moves coming here momentarily. McLaughlin, the white and red car on the inside. He's going for it on Herta, and so too Power. And Power, an amazing turn 10 to not hit the tire barrier there and make it work.
That's one of McLaughlin's old tricks from Surfer's Paradise, sending it up the inside like he used to do in the V8 supercars. Colton Herta, nothing he can really do to defend. McLaughlin was determined on the charge and on those softer Firestones with more grip at the start.
It is a Chevy road show at the moment. Here comes Power. Power on Herta. That's for 4th place.
And speaking of Herta, let's just go back to earlier that lap going into 9. I thought maybe he clipped the wall, but it was just oversteer getting on the Power out of 8 on those harder, slower Firestones as we see Pato now looking on the inside of Rosenqvist.
The champ is up there.
Those tires, Diff, will come back to Colton Herta in about another lap or 2. He'll be able to settle into some good pace. On board now, the Mission Foods on board, Alexander Rossi, who has patiently worked his way up into the top 10. And now he is getting excited about maybe some opportunities to go further, try to catch his teammate here, Pato O'Ward in the orange and black Arrow McLaren.
Look how quickly McLaughlin has got up to the back of the number 5 car, the black and orange machine of Pato O'Ward. Here we are, that Dex imaging on board showing you just how close. If he can get a good run off 14 here, make a run.
He has a good run, and if he gets by O'Ward, it's going to be a Penske shootout on 2 different tire compounds. McLaughlin on the soft, Joseph Newgarden on that harder tire.
26 still to go though, 26 laps. It's a long way around St. Pete. We're only just over 2/3 race distance. Whoa, little hiccup there for O'Ward.
You've got to attack now if you're Scott McLaughlin while that tire advantage still exists. It's easier to defend once they start falling off a little bit. Look how close he's getting.
So, Newgarden's liking the look of this because his teammate is starting to distract. Pato O'Ward in the background is another Team Penske car. 3 of the top 4 are Team Penske. Well, you shouldn't be surprised. They're the only team who never changed anything in the off-season. Stability, consistency, the key, Marty, with the captain's man.
Keep this in mind for Will Power, a former St. Pete winner. He has been by far on older tires the best car in the field today. Now that was on 2 primary runs. They told him though, remember the advantage you have on older tires. Let's see what we can do here. But on the alternates right now for Power and his teammate Scott McLaughlin.
Good move there from Alex Palou. He gets Felix Rosenqvist. The champ in the DHL Honda, that bright red and yellow car continues to climb his way up the order. Penalty for the 77 of Romain Grosjean. He served it already, and again, this is what it was for. The cause and the catalyst for the most recent full course yellow.
Yeah, this will be avoidable contact on the 77. Grosjean really just has a peak of a nose up the inside, nowhere close to being all the way alongside. That's a pretty easy call for race control. Unfortunately there for Linus Lundqvist. It is heavy damage to that rear wing, as Grosjean will have to do the drive-through.
7 laps to go. Can anybody do anything about Joseph Newgarden? 6.3 seconds in the lead. He just continues to grow it. Would you have predicted that 3 of the top 4 cars would be Team Penske, continuing this steamroller run on the heels of Ryan Blaney's NASCAR Cup Series win, Joseph Newgarden's Indy 500 win, the Rolex 24 at Daytona win, the World Endurance Championship season opener win. There is no stopping Roger Penske and Team Penske, whether it's here in IndyCar or wherever the captain races.
And it's just Pato award in that black and orange McLaren that's stopping this from being a Penske 1, 2, 3. I mean, it really does look like both McLaughlin and Power have a little bit of lap time on him, but he's doing a great job defending the place.
Just look at the pace of Newgarden here in the closing laps on that harder black tire. You got to think that McLaughlin and Power have similar setups, that they could turn similar lap times if they can find a way past O'Ward, get a little bit of clean air.
The white flag here.
White flag here, 1.8 miles to go for the PPG Chevy of Joseph Newgarden. What a day it's been. 91 laps he has led. Spectacular display to open up this 2024 season. His teammates are duking it out back there for the final step on the podium. I'm not sure Power can do anything about McLaughlin. Can't quite get close enough.
Hasn't been totally smooth sailing for Newgarden. They had that issue on the first pit stop, struggling a bit to get the fuel probe to seat properly, but they've recovered nicely. Had to make a few moves there on the restart. But I'll tell you what, there's one thing we've learned about Newgarden through the years. If he finds clean air at the front, he owns it.
Yeah, bye-bye. Through the last chicane, round the last 2 turns. What a way to start a new championship season. Indy 500 winner, Rolex 24 at Daytona winner, St. Pete winner for the 3rd time. The Firestone Grand Prix of St. Pete belongs to Joseph Newgarden.
Great job, everybody. Really nice execution. Thanks for all the work.
Nicely done, Joseph. Nicely done.
What a way to start the season for Joseph Newgarden and Team Penske. You said, I'm enjoying my job once again. How much does this add to that enjoyment, Joseph?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun today. A lot of fun. I'm just, look at this.
The boss, Roger Penske.
I was thinking of you at the end of that race. Keep it together like you told me to. Roger was telling me, he said, you have a big lead. You better hold on to it, not throw it in the wall.
Luke Mason, the engineer, coming in. That was what you said on the radio. We can turn right. With all the struggles on street courses last year, did you honestly expect a 1, 3, 4 from Team Penske today?
I mean, I think it's so deserving for the work that they put in. I know intimately what's been put into this program in the offseason. It's Team Chevy, everything that they brought this weekend, and then our team specifically. We've worked really hard to close the gap. I mean, we didn't have the speed we needed on road and street courses last year, and I think we just, at least on a consistency basis, and today we brought that speed. We had the execution, as always. You know exactly what you expect from Team Penske. But so happy to have PPG here, have this car in victory lane. I think this is one of the most beautiful cars you can find in IndyCar racing. I'm just I feel very relaxed right now. I was really excited initially, and then it kind of calmed down those last 10 laps, and we can move on from here and at least enjoy this first victory.
Up next, it's the Thermal Club $1 Million Challenge, Sunday, March 24th at 12:30 p.m. on NBC.